Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. Eric H526, Luke St. Martin, thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have a fantastic show this evening, and I just want to thank you. To my super chat, ladies and gentlemen, you are absolutely wonderful. To my super chat, thank you. You help me remain independent, and I just want to thank you to the super chat for supporting my work and my voice. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get to Lindsey Graham, Before we get to Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, this is what I think. Nachos Livestream, hello. This is what I think. The Roz, hello. This is what I think President Trump should do for the next 2 years. Okay? There should be an incentive. Some kind of incentive. I don't know what the motivation or incentive should be, whether it's political or the type of motivation or incentives. See, Democrats incentivize politicians within their ranks to give total loyalty and allegiance. You rarely see. I mean, the moment you see somebody within the Democratic Party, like Tulsi Gabbard, for example, show independence and courage and speak out against, some really bad things going on in terms of foreign policy or party politics, internal politics, you get a backlash. You get, oh my God, Clinton saying that the Russians are grooming this person. Now, of course, they went after Tulsi Gabbard. They went after Bernie Sanders. They went after President Trump. They went after Jill Stein. Anyone they don't like is working with the Putin. And whatever the message they want to convey is, everyone is on board. Almost every single person is on board. They don't have Mitt Romney's or Ben Sass's or Adam Kinzinger's or Lisa Murkowski's or Susan Collins. They don't have anybody who sides with President Trump. Like, they have every single conceivable advantage that they utilize to foster one vantage point: political discourse, discussion, debate, the writing, the journalism, the narrative runs through the lenses of oftentimes apoplectic, fanatical, morally superior, angry, disgruntled, morally superior liberal Democrats, because they wake up every morning with oftentimes, many of them wake up with one goal in mind: to be anywhere on the left is to judge and condemn and cast judgment upon others, and to view yourself as doing something spiritually and morally just. That's how they do things. They truly believe that they're morally superior. And right now, there's no opposition party, so they can get away with things that make no sense, because there could be an idea, a left-leaning idea, whether it's a policy goal or objective or some kind of viewpoint, that would never make it mainstream were it not for Twitter. So it's something that's absurd. It's something that you would look at in any part of the world, by the way, and say, yeah, that makes no sense. But on Twitter, ideas that make no sense gain a life of their own, and the Democrats latch on to them. Then there are things like that are rooted in a noble endeavor, like the anthem protest, but you never see Democrats or Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer or AOC or anybody taking a knee during the national anthem. That would be the end of the Democratic Party. So they straddle the fence. And they say Trump is a mean person, and Trump should never have disparaged LeBron James. He should never have disparaged NFL athletes. That was not a good thing to do for a number of reasons. But Democrats extract and derive every single ounce of political utility that they can from contentious and controversial issues. And they market themselves as the good, the good people, the moral side, the wonderful people who presided over a failed NATO intervention in Libya. And President Obama drinking Flint water. And the crime bill. But what I'm trying to say is, what President Trump should do is he should build a coalition. I don't want to use that. I don't like that word, but he should build a foundation. Democrats have incentivized allegiance within their political system. Grunge or bust, hello. Democrats have, if you're a Democrat, you fall in love with an intelligence operative, you better believe that no one's going to talk about it. The Washington Post, the New York Times, they're not going to talk about it. CNN, MSNBC, they're not going to talk about it. You sell stocks prior to the pandemic, and you were privy to classified meetings, whether it's Richard Burr or a Republican or Dianne Feinstein, a Democrat. If you're never Trump, you get hooked up. I mean, you get hooked up. You need speaking engagement. Oh, that's fantastic. How many banks are asking President Trump for speaking fees? Not many. How about none? How many banks are asking Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Ron DeSantis, Doug Collins, Devin Nunes, Richard Grinnell? How many investment banks are asking for them to speak? It's not like Bill Clinton Inc., which is what they talked about in the campaign emails. You can get speaking engagements. You can have access to funding. You have favorable coverage. You will get favorable coverage. And all your sins will either be swept under the rug or they won't be obsessed over. The Lincoln Project co-founder is an example. They had no choice but to display and expose and talk about the immorality there and the possible criminal activity. That organization completely imploded. They are now complete disgrace. But how many wonderful, morally superior liberals retweeted them? The point is that if the tables were turned, and if it was anyone in the same realm as President Trump accused of what one of the co-founders was accused of, they would never stop. Look at New York's governor. I mean, these are true scandals and controversies. Now they're obsessing and touching themselves in ecstasy to what President Trump could have done with Deutsche Bank, because he told Deutsche Bank that he was a lot more wealthier than he really was. Big deal. Boss Digital, hello. Christopher! Cancel culture would have a hard time staying relevant if Twitter falls. Exactly. That's my point. Christopher. Exactly. Trump runs on pretty simple ideas. We're not going to go ahead. If NATO countries want a certain type of intervention, or if the neoconservative Lincoln Project people want a certain type of intervention, he's not going to go for it. He ain't going to go for it. If they say no, don't engage in tariffs, it's a little bit of a reactionary or whatever. Tariffs. That's you're going to upend the apple cart, and you don't want to rock the boat, and don't rock the boat, baby. Don't tip the boat over. Don't rock the boat. Don't be... he doesn't care. Because we can engage in tariffs now. We will be the third-ranked economy behind China and India very soon. Like a distant third. The future of this world is India and China, not us, in terms of economies. And maybe in terms of military, might as well. So Trump said, yeah, at this point right now is the time. We're still the number one economy. You engage in tariffs. It's not, it's a short-term tactic, but that's a populist type of economic tactic, or the long-term strategy is to renegotiate trade deals, and he was doing that before the pandemic. But Christopher, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. But it's like impossible to see what President Trump should do. And thank you very much, Christopher. What President Trump should do. Nays, hello. Nays Garden, hello. What President Trump should do is simply be cool. Like, remember, I'll make another reference. What? Oh my God, what's wrong with Pulp Fiction? Be cool, be cool. Engage in a long-term strategy and do things the way Democrats do them. Democrats, they don't go after you. They go after you, but not through a tweet or a letter to, like, the letter to McConnell was good. The letter to McConnell was good. But there's no need for that anymore. You know, not meeting with Nikki Haley, if you want to do that, fine. But McConnell, Nikki Haley, Lindsey Graham, I know I'm going to say something and everyone's going to say, oh, HA, you've lost it. Now this time you've really lost your marbles. Luke St. Martin, Eric H526. I don't know if I said hello to you. Luke, Eric. If Ben Sasse tomorrow, if Adam Kinzinger tomorrow, if Ben Sasse and Adam Kinzinger and Mitt Romney wanted to go to Mar-a-Lago, Trump should say, no problem, let's go golfing. Now, if they said, hey, we want you to meet us at our, there's a barbecue for you, Trump. It's, why don't you meet us at our, no, President Trump shouldn't go meet them. He might be what's for dinner. But he should be open to speaking, and this is what gave him momentum going up to 2015 and 2016. He was down for whatever. He was down for anything. He should go on MSNBC and CNN once he just calms down and relaxes and has people around him that could coach him. And I know you're saying, what are you talking about? That is the worst thing possible. No, it's the best thing. If you show them that you're a human being, admit certain mistakes, but highlight your accomplishments, highlight your successes, achievements, show that you're willing to go toe-to-toe with your political adversary. Show that you're willing to have a discussion or a debate, to engage in discourse. So when they go after him, like, I can't believe you did that, he can say, now, look, I'm here because I want to talk to you. Now, look, I don't know if he's capable of that, but there needs to be something along those lines. Agent Pepsi! Agent Pepsi! Agent Pepsi, hello. I just want, what I think President Trump should do is, I think that President Trump should I think that President Trump should start building alliances, strategic alliances, or at least be willing and open, or at least tell people, hey, if you go after me, because Democrats understand the second that they say anything about Madam Secretary, it's curtains politically. The second that Tulsi Gabbard or other let's just say Bernie Sanders initially, then Bernie, kissed the ring. But the second Tulsi Gabbard criticized the Democratic Party, there was immediate political retribution. She was suddenly a Russian operative. So just let Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, you don't have to write those letters anymore. That's what I'm trying to say. Ladies and gentlemen. And with the algorithm, I'm naturally long-winded, but then with the algorithm and everything, I could talk for 5 hours and not get to a point. And then still there'd be a risk of problems. But now it's I'm like walking on eggshells trying to get to a certain point because it's so difficult to navigate what's going on. Because there was a tragedy that took place, a real bad tragedy. 5 people should be alive today. And it shouldn't have happened. The protests that they shouldn't have happened, there should have been national discourse and dialogue. But President Trump can build right now, the next 2 years, he'll have in 2022 a Republican Party that backs him. He'll have a Republican Party with politicians that are Trump Republicans, not the Rhino or Never Trumpers. And there'll be hopefully an opposition to the madness. And this is actually a trap for Democrats because they don't have any policies that really get their voters going. So they're going to have to reach, and they're going to have to make perhaps even more outlandish claims than they've already made. And then that'll be easier for Republicans in a unified voice to say, what are you talking about? What are you talking about here? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Because Republicans, there's no unified opposition to any of the madness. So you have social media madness, you have people being erased. They're trying to erase people. They're trying to prevent you from even thinking about topics. They're trying to prevent suspicion. They're trying to control sentiment. That is like the definition of propaganda. That word is not just about information. It's not so much about a battle for information. If Democrats could get you to vote for them by watching squirrels surfing squirrels, they would do that. What do they care? A vote is a vote. It's not like they have these grandiose ideals that they really care about. If they could stay in office and control Congress forever by just showing commercials full of surfing squirrels, they would do so. What do they care? They don't care about Medicare for all or Green New Deal legislation. But what they do is they say the end of the world. Don't you understand? Climate change. It's climate change. And then when they get in office, it's we don't want to really. They didn't touch Green New Deal legislation with a 10-foot pole. They didn't even want to discuss it. Only Trump and his vice president were bringing it up. They definitely don't want Medicare for all. You see what's taking place right now. So they don't have any policy, but they have lives are being lost. There's no Medicare for all. There's no single payer. So the emotion is what gets people. It's about emotion. It's not about information. Sanderford! I think his Florida meetings are meant to build up alliances and set up boundaries. I agree with that. I like and likely mean he will guide the GOP unless he blunders before 2024. Exactly. I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. I think that that's true. It is about building. I think that he's. I think that what he's doing is meeting with the people he has to meet with to build these alliances. That's true. You're right. Sandiford, thank you so very much. Sandiford, thank you. I think that's important. I really do think that's important. I think it's important, and I think that's what he needs to do. He needs to start building bridges. Because the thing is, like, okay, if you notice something, nobody remembers. Do you remember any of President Trump's tweets? Do you remember any of his tweets when he was running for president? That's a good thing that you don't. I don't remember any of his tweets. Nothing. When he became president, do you really remember any of his tweets in 2017? 2018, 2019? Then you started getting, like, the whole, like, madness and obsession over things he said. And then he started falling into a trap. They gained this sustenance, this spiritual sustenance. A great many liberal Democrats are atheists. So their moral guidance is not what they think God would want. Their moral guidance is what they think will get retweeted. They love that. That's like a spiritual, like, some people wake up in the morning and, you know, they look out and the sun is shining, the birds are singing, you know, their family is healthy, they're alive, there aren't any, like, you know, really, you know, horrible aches and pains, and they say, you know what, thank God I'm alive. And a great many liberal Democrats wake up in the morning and they go on their phone, they go on Twitter, and then they look, Trump! And then they feel good because they're like, Trump. Not since Attila the Hun and every Genghis Khan and Hannibal and every Nero and every despot. And then they feel like, oh no, I felt so good. I got retweeted. I really got Trump here. I feel so good and I'm happy. So happy. And it gave them this Caligula example. It gave them this like reason, this sense of accomplishment. Every single day they got this like sense of accomplishment. And like without that now, they've kind of like without President Trump on Twitter, they really have nothing. Like, they really have nothing. They don't really have much. They don't really have much. They don't have policies. They're going after Trump now because of his taxes, and I mean, they haven't really accused him of anything. They're trying to find out if perhaps he committed a crime, which is not usually how you investigate crimes. Generally, an act needs to be committed that breaks the law. Then you investigate why it happened, not the other way around. It's like, with Trump, they're like, something must have happened. We need more financial records. You know what? The Steele dossier says that he probably did something, so we have to investigate for 4 years. That's not to say that he's like, this perfect, like, wonderful, sweet, like, precious, innocent human being. He's a billionaire, okay? But grunge or bust, exactly. Like, what? Comedy is so watered down, except for, like, some really amazing. Ryan Long is an amazing comedian. Ryan Long is awesome. Ryan Long, I mean, there's some good, there's some good comedians out there. There's still some great, like, the top comedians were the top comedians today were the top comedians in 2010. But like there's some new ones like Ryan Long and some others, but it's like generally you can't listen to there's no comedy that, like, the best comedy is not necessarily offensive, but it talks about contentious topics, and it's not like when you listen to like Eddie Murphy Raw or Delirious or old Dave Chappelle or Richard Pryor or Robin Williams. I was listening to Robin Williams today, and he is one of the greats of all time. But or Don Rickles especially, these are the best comedians of all time, and their acts, they could not go to college campuses now. Like this generation, this generation of political pundits or this social media generation, they're losing out on like enjoyment. I saw Chris Rock in college. He was amazing. And it was like, a couple of thousand college kids laughing, just having an amazing time. But with that performance, he couldn't perform around colleges today. It would be too offensive. So it's like, but again, like there's no pushback. There's no opposition. Like most people are, really, look, myself included, I don't talk about a lot of topics. But I mean, there's no opposition. Like you have a system in place that, under the guise of justice or equity, is trying to suppress thoughts that can't be suppressed. You just can't suppress certain thoughts or emotions, or you can't help but laugh at certain things. And so, but getting back to President Trump, he should spend the next 2 to 4 years, showing the world that he's a human being. Like, not winning humanized him. Like, not being on Twitter made him more human in the eyes of a great many people than him being on Twitter, because Trump became this nightmare, this daily nightmare that actually sustained. So they derived sustenance and some kind of spiritual, bizarre, mission, or, their self-worth. Many people on the left, their self-worth was linked to how many retweets they got disparaging Trump. But that's like a waste of your life. First Last, you're a national treasure just like everyone else. Thank you, First Last. Thank you, First Last. Thank you so very much, First Last. I hope all is well. First, last, thank you, Agent Pepsi. There's nothing to say. Well, what's he doing? He's not even getting anything done. First, last, thank you so very, very much. I mean, you look at there's like a list of people who just devoted their lives to just disparaging Trump, and look what happened. Look, like you have the Lincoln Project implode, Juicy Smollett. You have Avenatti, Michael Cohen, Stormy. I mean, this is like a poorly written comedy, political comedy. What's Michael Avenatti doing? So he was released because of the pandemic. or I mean, like house confinement. But I don't know if he's going to go back. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to read this here. But I mean, it's just like, he's an example. He was on MSNBC and CNN, I think, over 100 times. I think over 100 times. And then you have CNBC, how Michael Avenatti went from battling Trump to fighting his own legal woes. It's like, that's not really that bad of a... If you go after Trump, you're really not going to get that bad of a... it's not really... Who briefly considered a run for a presidency, has been convicted of trying to extort. He faces more than 40 years in prison. Wow. When he is sentenced next month. Wowzers. My God. Definitely don't try to extort Nike. That's one thing. Like, that's the thing. Just because you're on CNN doesn't mean you can extort Nike. First last, thank you. William Holloway. William. A dream to some, a nightmare to others. Merlin Trump. Weaving some magic. What's happening? I don't know. William Holloway, on that date, I have no clue. But Merlin Trump, I like that. He is Merlin Trump. He's definitely like... I just hope that he learns... I just hope, William, that he learns. That's all I want President Trump to learn from... I want him to just simply learn from his mistakes. Like, Ryan Long has 325,000 subscribers. He is amazing. Definitely subscribe to his channel. So here's his. He needs to get to 1 million, but that's his link. There's a couple great channels I've been listening to. Also, I'll let you know about. Exactly, Donna. Exactly, William. I just hope William Holloway. I hope that he just simply learns from his mistakes and tries to. I want him to try to focus on his achievements and communicate his humanity. I know that sounds lofty. And Todd Rubel. When will Mitch McConnell come clean on? Todd, I love you, Todd. I'm going to have to remove that just because I don't know what that means. But Todd, thank you. Thank you, Todd. Thank you. I have to remove. I apologize. I'm sure you didn't mean it as any. I apologize, Todd. I don't know exactly what that means, so I don't want to But Todd, thank you. Mitch McConnell is an example of. Todd, I apologize, but I just have to be, extremely, 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 safe on the channel. And I don't know exactly what the message meant at all. But Todd, thank you. I do apologize. Mitch McConnell is the type of person that is going to... Mitch McConnell is the type of person that's going to... I think that it would be good for him to actually meet with Mitch. So, Todd, I think that it would be good, and I appreciate your support, Todd Rubel. I think that it would be actually good for... not your live stream. I'll do my turtle in a second. I think it would be good, Todd and William, for Mitch McConnell to be golfing at Mar-a-Lago every week. I'm telling you, at this point right now, I would want, I would want Ben Sass, Mitt Romney. I know people are going to say, oh my God, you've lost it. You've lost your mind. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I would want all of these people to be at Mar-a-Lago. And I'll explain why. Because you want to keep your adversaries. You want to keep your adversaries close. You want to keep your political rivals close to you. That's why, like, AOC and Bernie Sanders aren't rivals of Nancy Pelosi. They're actually very much working for Nancy Pelosi. It's a perfect racket. It's the perfect racket. You're on social media pretending that you're, like, really sticking it to Marty! Marty Sigwald, hello, solid points, good listen. Thank you. Marty, thank you so very, very much. Greatly appreciated, Marty. Thank you. Thank you, Marty. William. Larry Whitaker. Larry worked with Rickles. Wow, very kind. Nice. Election AOC. Needs to go. The Pig Latin. Yes. I'm down with the Pig Latin. I think that ultimately, he should use that. Like, he should explain. Larry and Marty and William, he should explain. He should go to Mitch McConnell. Thank you for inviting me to go golfing. And then Trump should be like, look, this is what we're going to do. If you don't play ball, I'm going to start my new party. And really, that, I mean, like he should let the RNC know. Who's the RNC chairman? Ronna McDaniel, right? She's great. Ronna McDaniel's great. She is great. Ronna McDaniel's fantastic. The only thing is, she's like, she has to kind of do what Mitch McConnell, like, he should let everyone within the Republican Party know. Like, he should invite Ben Sass and Mitt Romney and Adam Kinzinger. Like, and if they say, we didn't go to Mar-a-Lago, then, like, they should get the message from Ronna McDaniel that he'll start his own thing. He will start his own thing if they don't represent. Donna Fangio, thank you. Trump, why have you invited me every week to go golfing? Oh, you're going to start your own political party? Oh, my goodness. Okay, I'll defend you from now on. See, like, they like Democrats don't they have such a, like, finely tuned machine. If you want a book deal, you're going to get a book deal. If you're Josh Hawley, you can forget about the book deal. Book deal, schmuck deal. If you want to get, the most, amazing coverage, the most wonderful, like, articles about how great you are, you'll be, you could be a Democrat with, like, major scandals and controversies. You better believe no investigative journalist from Vice or The Intercept or the Daily Beast or the Washington Post or the New York Times or Vanity Fair, Esquire, Rolling Stone. You better believe there will be not one investigative journalist who will be talking about, Eric Swalwell's romantic relationship with a political intelligence operative, which, kind of important. I don't know. Would seem interesting in, years past. But Like, it's just, you're going to be hooked up. There should be publishers, or there should be conservative, there has to be a whole bunch of conservative CEOs out there willing to pay for speaking engagements the way Democrats, get. Like, there's a whole speaking tour circuit. Where are the Republicans don't get that love. So there needs to be some kind of, I'm definitely not saying that Republicans should engage in the same legal graft that Democrats do. That would not be what I'm saying. But there should be incentive to promote, a different vantage point in American politics. We have one vantage point. One vantage point. Like in Hollywood, if you convey a different viewpoint, you're not going to work. So you better be an icon, you better be a legend, or you better have, the ability to write or direct or, create a show on your own, or distribute, or like every other element of, film and TV. But I think that once we have 2022 and we have an opposing viewpoint, you're going to see society change. Because we have not had, think about this, from 2008. Think about this. From 2008 until today, we really have not had an opposing viewpoint or an ability to challenge the more liberal narrative on politics. You went from 2008 to 2016 with President Obama. And, atrocities took place, horrible things. Media didn't really care. It wasn't. Then President Trump took office, and you had Jeff Sessions. You had media just with a temper tantrum. Now that's ended, of course. But a temper tantrum that the whole country had to deal with. And there, it's not. President Trump had something to do with the lack of, with the inability of conservatives or Republicans to at least, or independents that gravitate towards Trump. He had something to do with not really effectively pushing back against this universally liberal viewpoint on politics, or this prevailing mentality, this conventional or conventional political thought. When they want to explain any vantage point, they say, well, the experts agree. But then, there's always experts that'll disagree. You can find experts that are conservative. Notice how there are never any conservative experts. We found 1,000 Justice Department former officials. There's never any conservative Justice Department officials. We found experts in the scientific community. There are never any experts in the scientific community. Because the reaction, the repercussions, the retribution, the revenge or the retribution will be swift. So there has to be some pushback, because we have a country of 325 million Americans. We have to have some discussion. You can't always just have one vantage point. And President Trump, he won the presidency, but he didn't win the ideological discussion, because Democrats were able to completely fabricate what Trump stood for. Trump does not stand for bigotry or racism. That's what Democrats accuse anyone who disagree with them of. He doesn't stand for any of that. He doesn't stand for banning a religion, which he did not do. He doesn't stand for anything like that. And he allowed them to really he really allowed them to run away with the narrative. So like when you talk about free speech, the reason there's very little free speech today, or speech is curtailed, the reason is because there's no opposition to the viewpoint that speech must be curtailed. How many Republicans, aside from people like Devin Nunes and Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan and Ron DeSantis and Doug Collins and like Trump Republicans, but Richard Grenell, but how many people you would think after 4 years of Trump being president, you would think that Republicans would wholeheartedly accept a more populist message that embraces individual liberty. Like it's not Republicans at this point that want to suppress thought. It's Democrats. They don't have any like grandiose ideas. So everything's either offensive or could lead to something that's horrendous. When they don't get Trump on what he says, they then get him on what it could mean. Clem joke. Does anyone else believe types produce? You know what? I don't think that there is no they don't a big part of it is Twitter. You take Twitter away, and actors and actresses and directors who haven't done anything for like a decade, they don't get their name out there. Like already as it is, if President Trump could go back, so Clem, thank you, Clem. If President Trump could go back, and if he could just go back and not get delete his Twitter account, history might be different. But you know what? Look, at the end of the day, he still has the opportunity to build upon his accomplishments. But the fact that if you take Twitter, if Twitter ceased to exist, you would have the Democratic Party in Hollywood would lose influence in society. Because as it is right now, they're only speaking to half the country. If there's a huge market, if there was a channel or a cable channel or one of the major networks wanted to actually they should beg Roseanne Barr to come back, do another Roseanne or another show that just offers a different viewpoint, or shows how this is what when the Roseanne show before, when it was with Roseanne Barr, it was showing a real family. And she's an icon and a legend. She's absolutely fantastic and she's wonderful. Roseanne Barr's absolutely wonderful. And she's an icon and legend. She doesn't need Hollywood. But she stated something on Twitter, was offensive, and then that's it. The network immediately. Meanwhile, you have other left-leaning pundits or actors said even worse, and they don't get the same treatment. But there's a huge market. They should beg Roseanne to start another show, and it would be the number one rated show in the country immediately. Because there's not when Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert, they're speaking to half the country. That's it. They're not speaking to 74 million Americans. They're speaking to only half the country. There's a huge market. You can have Ryan Long should be on that show. There should be Roseanne Barr, Ryan Long. You could think of comedians that apparently they don't need to be part of that Hollywood groupthink because they have the talent or they have the legendary status like Roseanne. But there's a huge market for that. Like this, and this day and age right now with Democrats pretty much running political thought in the country, it's not going to last forever. Once you have, that's my point for this whole segment, this long-winded segment. Once you have Jimmy from Philly, beat one of Trump's attorneys. Go to my YouTube, hilarious. Thank you, Jimmy. I hope all is well. Thank you, Jimmy. Once you have Republicans really take control of the House, and actually offer, not like a Paul Ryan. See, when President Trump became president, they didn't really want him. Even the Republicans didn't want him. He didn't look this the machine, the system, DC has operated so that a person like Trump doesn't win, and he won. He was able to do something because he was open. He went on those channels. He had very calm, he was able to get his point across even with belligerent or condescending journalists. He needs to get that back. But he's accomplished enough. Abraham Accords, first president stepped foot in North Korea. We had record low unemployment and then this nonsense about blaming Trump for the entire pandemic. When you have Andrew Cuomo now, and you have Phil Murphy, you have all of these governors who presided over the absolute worst outcomes. It's not Trump's fault. That's not Trump's fault. So he can definitely build on his accomplishments and kind of show the world, hey, you know what, he's merci mon ami. Oh my god, this is so nauseating. Biden Trudeau renew bilateral bond post Trump. Oh, merci mon ami. I love that. Ooh. Meanwhile, Trudeau got out of course, he should have been erased politically because of his indiscretions. But of course, if you're liberal, all you have to say is sorry, and it's all good. It's all good. The outrage is not really about morality. It's about a political tool. Democrats and liberals throughout the world have perfected the art of leveling outrage as a political tool. A stunt to gain political utility. That's it. They don't really care about. It's not really like them being offended means anything other than, oh gee, what can I derive from pretending I'm so horribly offended. So again, I'm not even going to get into what Trudeau did, but you better believe that if any other Republican politician, the governor of Virginia, we can go on forever. The people are the biggest hypocrites on the planet, but they condemn and judge, and they moralize and preach and give the sermons. And we're supposed to look at them and say, what? If you have a functioning brain cell, you look at, these hypocrites and you say, yeah, I'm not going to listen to anything you're saying. During a virtual confab, the leaders of Canada, U.S. pledged to work closely on multiple shared issues. Merci, mon ami. I love this. Every day. This is a Politico article. Every day of Trump's presidency was Putin, Putin, Putin. Russia, Russia, Putin. Moscow hotel room. Oh my God, they relieved themselves on Trump. Ah, orange monster. Putin, nightmare, Putin, Putin. Stormy, stormy. And now it's President Biden. Merci, mon ami. Oh. Trudeau. We're back on track. We're friends again. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to I'm looking up Oh, that's good. Former vice president speaks highly of Trump in meeting and plans to launch a political group. Wow, I don't know what the political group means. Well, he maintains a close friendship. Good. So he stuck up for Trump. That's good. Romney predicts Trump would win. Nice. The 2024 GOP nomination if he ran for president. Nice. I like that. Finally, Mitten says something of value. Oh, nice. Of course. Romney predicts Trump would win the 2024. Yeah. Yes. Mittens. Finally. I don't know if he'll run in 2024, but if he does, I'm pretty sure he'll win the nomination. Nice. Nice. Finally, Mitten says something that makes sense. Scorp target! I hope all is well. There's still going to be a huge amount of the future is orange. Exactly. Scorp target, hello. Scorp target, hello. Yep. Yep, I agree. I agree about the I love that. I love that. Romney predicts Trump would win the 2024 GOP nomination if he ran for president. Finally, Mittens does something better than putting his dog on his car. Senator Mitt Romney of Utah said on Tuesday that he believed Donald J. Trump would win the Republican nomination for president if he ran for his former office in 2024. Another indication Mr. Trump's perceived strength in the party. Perceived strength. I love that. The New York Times can't give it up. His perceived, smoke and mirrors strength. He really doesn't have any strength. He's really not that strong. It's just perception, not reality. I don't know if he'll run in 2024 or not, but if he does, I'm pretty sure he will win the nomination. Nice. Mr. Romney noted that a lot can happen between now and 2024. I look at the polls, and the polls show that among names being floated contenders, if you put Trump in there, he wins in a landslide. That's true. That's true. Finally, Mitten says something that makes sense. Now he goes back to, asked by New York Times Andrew Ross Sorkin whether he would campaign against Mr. Trump, Mr. Romney responded, I would not be voting for President Trump again. I haven't voted for him in the past. And I would probably be getting behind somebody who I thought more represented the tiny wing of the Republican Party that I represent. Yes! They should call themselves the Tiny Wing Party. Tiny Wings. The coalition of tiny wings. Mr. Romney comments were a clear sign of Mr. Trump's enduring position in the Republican Party, even after his election. And I love that. They're like, even after this and that, this and that, this and that. Luke St. Martin, thank you, Luke. So, that's pretty awesome. I love that. What will be interesting is when they run out of things to talk about and they have to actually talk about controversies pertaining to Biden. That'll be interesting. That would be I'm waiting for that because there's so many. His son Caligula. There's so many. But they're once they kind of when the New York Times, Washington Post is grudgingly there's something on the horizon here. But, don't get, it's probably not a big deal, but we need to talk about it. Even though it would probably be it would be so horrendous. It would be such a horrendous scandal that they can't cover it up, but they just got to talk about it. Let's type in the person who saved American democracy, okay? Mitt Romney criticizes Biden's stimulus as troublesome, McClunker. There's like it. Everything is just so. Everything is just so like political discussion is so subdued. Let's see here. I'm trying to look at. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Rick, God bless you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I think I'm going to head on out. It's been an hour. I want to thank you all. Thank you, Rick. Thank you. I want to thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. Eric, H526, Luke, St. Martin. I will have an upload in a couple of hours. I always have an upload right before midnight Pacific time, so you can count on that always. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you. To my super chat, thank you so very much. Be here tomorrow at like around 8 p.m. again. And ladies and gentlemen, God bless. To my super chat, thank you. Eric and Luke, thank you. I will see